All right. Hello, everyone. So we're here today because there is a new moon in Capricorn, which was at midnight last night, about 12:05 a.m. So if you are watching the screen, if you're also watching me, if you see some smoke, it's okay. My house is not burning down. I just have some sage burning because I like to be able to have some clean energy while we do any type of energy work with the moon. So a little bit about myself. I am very interested in health, and not just your physical health, but also your spiritual health and like your mental health. And in my opinion, spiritual health is just as important, if not more important, than your physical health, because there's a lot of spiritual connections that we'll see. For a good example that I've seen so many times is when I'm working in the hospital and people come in with pain over and over and over again, and the doctors cannot figure out where that pain is coming from. It's because it's not physical problems in their body. It's like a spiritual problem or a mental health problem that's being manifested as a physical problem. So that's why I love this type of work, this spiritual work, because it really helps encompass the whole body of health in such a really great way. And what we're going to do today is just work with this new moon energy, because it is such amazing energy that we can use to really propel ourselves forward and kind of get our ducks in a row, so to speak, for the next month ahead. So let me just move on to the next slide. Let's see. Okay. So what is a new moon? Basically, it's the start of a lunar calendar. So this means that the new moon is when you look in the sky, there is no moon. There's going to be no moon tonight. It's when the moon is completely between the earth and the sun, like directly between them. So we see it as the shadow, which means that it's not really there. It is the beginning of a new personal cycle. So this really is a time to manifest anything that you've been trying to call in. It's a time to look at your calendar and set yourself up for the next month, couple of weeks ahead. If you work with different moons besides just the new moon, you might be setting yourself up to work until the full moon, which then you can kind of do another type of ceremony or ritual and reflect, whereas the new moon's more about manifesting, the full moon's more about reflecting, which is pretty cool. So as we go into this new moon, I want everyone to be aware that the moon has an effect on our body. So if you think about the tides, the moon has this gravitational pull. It affects the tides. You can go down to the beach and see that actually happen in front of your eyes, which is pretty cool. But remember that your body is 70% water. So if you are someone who doesn't believe that the moon affects your body physically and emotionally, that just seems a little silly, because it really, like, even just your body shifts, looking at your weight, for females, your menstrual cycle, all of that can be affected by the moon. So it can affect your mood, your health, your sleep. Researchers have found that blood pressure and heart rate are actually lower during new moons, which is pretty cool. Moons can help accelerate your hair growth. It can make weight loss a little bit easier. That typically has to do with the water fluctuations. It can also increase your sex drive. And it's an ideal time for conceiving a child, because a new moon is that new beginning. And this new moon in Capricorn has a lot of different things associated with it. And we've been through such a hectic year in 2020. This is the first new moon of 2021. So it has a lot to bring us. It's also a partial solar eclipse, which is another cool astrological thing that's happening. So Capricorn is known for its grounding, cautious, and down to business energy. The Capricorns are the business people. They're pretty grounded in the sense, like, they know what they want, they go for it. And this new moon is considered one of the complete, like, restarts. It's going to be a cosmic renewal. In 2020, we had a lot of destruction. We saw that with the government, with everything else going on, with social justice. So 2021 is really going to be more of a rebuilding phase, and we're already seeing that now. You know, different elections coming up, people being put into new office positions, that kind of rebuilding phase. But that doesn't mean that there's not going to be any bumps. There's still going to be some bumps in the road. So don't expect 2021 to just be, you know, all light and dandy. We still have a little bit of energy to work through. But this new moon really focuses on your image and your identity and encourages us to explore who we want to be in the world. Just on a side note, if you're really into astrology, there's a couple other things happening. So Mercury is in Aquarius, which is squaring Uranus, and that might sound like a huge jumble of words that you don't really understand, but that kind of just means that today is going to not be the best day for communication. So expect some miscommunications or possibly some misunderstandings to take place. Some of you may have already experienced that, but that's kind of just like a little side note if you're really into astrology. And during new moons, with this energy that's kind of being released, being, you know, brought up to the surface, it's okay if you want to do nothing but take a bath and cry or take a nap. It's okay to feel that way. It doesn't mean that you're crazy. It's totally valid. And if that's what you feel called to do, by all means, go ahead and do that. So again, just a couple more points about this new moon in Capricorn. There is a general shift around the way that we're looking at the world, and specifically a very widening circle of inclusion. So we're really trying to include more people, fairness, equality, all of that is kind of coming to the surface. This new moon is encouraging us to focus on our long-term goals rather than short-term satisfaction. That's a very Capricorn thing, is kind of looking at that big long-term picture rather than short-term like satisfaction. What can get me the quickest thing, like how can I get there quickly? Capricorn's not about that. It's about what can I do now so that in a year from now, 6 months from now, I'm going to be set up and be, you know, where I need to be in the future. I'm going to apologize in advance. My dog is making a lot of noise over here, so if you hear her, that's what that is. Capricorn stresses our empowerment and the management of power for the good. So how can you embrace the leader within you? I also have the chat open, so I will answer people's questions as we go through. This one just popped in. Is it normal to feel helpless and hopeless today? Yes, that's 100% a valid feeling. All of last year, all of this year so far, everything that's gone on, it's okay to have that kind of dreary, like, oh my gosh, how do we go up from here? But the good news is that it's all going to end up working out. And this is kind of leads us into this next bullet point here. Remember that in order to expand, there must be death. So some type of death of some sort. I'm sorry, guys. Some type of death of some sort of what's not serving us. This can be painful. It can be painful to let go of parts of yourself that you've held on to for years that might just not be serving you. So it's okay to kind of mourn that death, knowing that it's going to be better and you're just making room for yourself to grow. Give me 1 second. I'm going to let her out of the room. Okay, there we go. So it's okay to have those feelings. Some issues to confront during this cycle are things like false hierarchies. We've already seen that in the news so much this year. Stereotypes, any type of extreme control. We're kind of seeing this a lot if you're on social media and you've been hearing about the new like terms and conditions. They're trying to control a lot of things. They're trying to take control of your phone, of what you have access to, where you are, what you've encountered in your life. Like all of those things are kind of being under surveillance. So we're already seeing that. Any type of extremes of patriarchy, which I kind of chuckled when I was doing this research because I think we've seen that so much lately. And also any lack of respect for the feminine or the earth. So these are things that are going to be coming up, especially extreme judgments, and also any wounds from family or cultural wrongs that haven't been addressed. So we saw this in 2020, we're still seeing it now, especially with all of the like social justice issues coming up. So just really taking that into consideration. It's all in the stars. This has all been predicted, which is really cool. to think about, that, you know, people who are super into astrology are kind of just sitting back going, yeah, well, we knew this was going to happen. Obviously, no one really knew the extent to it was going to happen. But this is just the natural cycle of things. So some actions to take this new moon, some things that are going to be really beneficial for you to do. One of them is to commit to a project. So find something that's going to have some results, something that you're going to do and feel really accomplished for doing, and stick with it so that you get that accomplishment. Get super focused, because now with this new moon in Capricorn, Capricorn energy is like that boss energy. So getting your schedule, getting your plan of action, starting your day, making sure you know exactly what you're going to do, planning your week ahead, your month ahead, your next 6 months, your next year, your next 5 years, kind of getting that like long-term vision. But remember that you're never going to be able to control everything that happens in your life. You're not going to be able to control other people, some circumstances. So just keep that in mind while you're planning these things. If it doesn't happen exactly how you wanted it to happen, that's okay. But we want to be able to have that like broader picture vision. And face your fears. This is a really good one for this new moon. If there's any personal fears, maybe some fears of the collective, meaning like any universal fears that we are kind of seeing in like the media and things like that, address those, see how they're holding you back. If you can confront them now during this new moon and have the courage and honesty, your breakthroughs are going to be magnified with this new moon energy. If you kind of sit back and don't really face those fears, you're just going to end up seeing all of these missed opportunities down the line, which is always frustrating. So try to do the work now, face those fears. So we're going to start the new moon ritual right now. The first thing that we're going to do is go through a little bit of a reflection and kind of look at some questions and things that, you know, might spark our minds to think of something that we can do. Then we're going to draw a tarot card. I like to use this spirit animal deck. It's by Kim Kranz. It's one of my favorites, and I love using it whenever I do moon work, just because I love the animals and I love the pictures. So we'll draw a card from there to give us a little bit of insight of what's to come this next like month or so. And then we're going to spend a couple of minutes, probably about like 10 minutes journaling. And then last but not least, I have a little meditation. I actually have some Tibetan singing bowls. So if you guys are interested, I will play those for you and we can do some breathing and just kind of close out with a really lovely boost of our energy, boost of our vibes, boost of our mindset before we go on to tackle this new moon. And at the very end, if anybody would like to share anything, you do not have to share, but I will say, when you're writing down things and you're manifesting things, if you speak them out loud to other people, not only are you putting that energy into motion, you're also sharing that energy with others who can also help you put that energy into motion, put it out into the universe, and kind of manifest your dreams a little bit more forcefully, I guess. So if you want to grab anything, you can grab some crystals. If you have sage and you want to light some sage to clear the energy, you are more than welcome to do that. Grab a notebook or pen and paper. I'll give you guys a few minutes to just grab what you need. Get yourself comfortable, get in a good position so that you are focused and you're ready to use this energy. While we are waiting, I will show you guys some of the crystals that I have out for this ceremony. I have a onyx, a little sliver of black onyx here. I've got a tiger's eye. I pretty much chose all really grounding crystals because that Capricorn is very grounding energy. I've got some red jasper here. And then this is not technically a crystal, but it is a lava rock that I brought home with me from Iceland when I was there. And it's just one of the most grounding pieces of earth that I have. And there's so many good memories that I have with it. So I like to keep this one whenever I want to do some good grounding work. It's also just a very, very cool shape. All right. I'll give you guys like one more minute and then we will get started. All right. So I just want everyone to take a nice deep breath in through your nose, and then let it out through your mouth. You can shake it out any old stagnant energy while you're doing so. We can do it together. So just in through the nose and out through the mouth, kind of just letting it all go. It's a good clearing breath, getting out any energy that doesn't need to be there. So we've got all positive energy while we go into it. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is go through our reflection. These are just a few questions that are kind of coming up for the collective, in a sense, like what this new moon is bringing about. And really just a couple of things to think about. If you want to journal why we go through these questions, you're more than welcome to, but I'll just read them out loud for all of you. So, do you feel that you're getting the respect that you think you deserve? Respect is a huge thing. Being acknowledged for your efforts is huge, and it's really important to feel satisfied in the work that you do. So that's just something to think about. Maybe if you are getting the respect that you feel you deserve, that is awesome. If you're not, where is it lacking? Are you your own worst critic? Or on the other side, are you too critical and judgmental of others? So thinking about that, thinking about the words that you say to yourself, the words that you say to other people. Are you very critical, a little bit judgmental? We can all be like that sometimes. I was like that this morning. So it's okay, it happens. But thinking about the words that you say to yourself are very important. Do you follow through with commitments? Have you been on the flakier side of 2020? Have you kind of let the pandemic turn you into a little bit of a couch potato or maybe a little bit lazy? I know I kind of went through that cycle as well. So do you follow through with the commitments that you're making? If you tell someone you're going to show up somewhere, have you been showing up? Have you been completing the tasks that you said you were going to complete? Do you feel like your plans and your ideas are coming to fruition, even within the limitations you may be experiencing? So this one, I love this question. When I was doing the research on the new moon in Capricorn, I just thought this was so interesting because the past like week or so, I've been noticing myself saying like, I want blank or I want blank. And then a couple of days later, it kind of appears in my life, not in the way that I thought it would, but it's my, ideas, my plans, things have kind of been working out, even though a lot of things around me, I feel like, are very unstable and maybe not working out as well. So a funny example of this is our like septic system here is pretty slow. So we need to use like very minimal toilet paper, and like thin toilet paper seems to like work the best. So we were joking we can only buy Scott toilet paper. And someone had told us this years ago, and we'd always kind of just been like, haha, they were kidding, but they were actually serious. Like Scott toilet paper seems to be the best that goes down the toilet. And I kept saying, okay, so we need to make sure we get Scott toilet paper. And my family home is being sold, and I had to go into it before the closing date to get a few last minute things out, and what happens to be in there but 8 rolls of Scott toilet paper. So I took those and was like, all right, well, that was interesting and funny and very unexpected. But it's things like that where you kind of have these little synchronicities, and maybe it's not, what you're experiencing. And there's, for me, it's that limitation of being in a new house and being in a new place and, selling my childhood home, which is a sad thing, but, here I am with my 8 rolls of Scott toilet paper. So just looking at, those little synchronicities in life and seeing if your plans or your ideas are actually coming out, even though you might be having these limitations. All right, so now we're going to pull a tarot card. One of my favorite things to do is work with tarot cards. There's so many different, decks. This is not a traditional deck. Like I said before, it's the spirit animal deck. So it's kind of set up a little bit differently, but I'll just show you like some of the pictures. I think they're so pretty, like beautifully designed. I really do love this deck a lot. So The way, if you're not familiar with tarot, the way that it works is it acts as a mirror for what's going on in your life and in the world. It can help to give you guidance. It can help with decisions, help provide just like a little bit more clarity if there's anything going on in your life that you're like, why me? You know, it helps with those types of situations. It's not a predictor for the future in the sense that if you pull the death card, you're going to die. That's not what tarot is. That's not what it means. There's different interpretations for different, you know, cards, and it really depends on who's pulling them, which is what I've learned. So if you ever, you know, have gotten a tarot reading and were scarred by the experience because it was all bad news, that's not what tarot is. And I think some people kind of have a negative connotation with it sometimes, but it can be really positive and you can learn a lot, which is great. So we're just going to ask the question, what do we need to know for this lunar cycle, and see what happens. Let me pull a card. All right. So I'm just going to cut the deck and let's see. All right, the card I pulled is the butterfly. And you may not believe me, but I swear I thought of this card this morning when we were doing this. I love this card. If you think about a butterfly, they are cocooned, right, for a while, and then they break free and they expand their wings and they're really just like ready to go and face the world. I will read you guys what it says in the book to match the butterfly, if I can find it. That way, you know, sometimes when you read the like the description of the card, it triggers something in your own life, or like it triggers a memory or a thought that you can really connect with it. So I'm going to read it to all of you because you might have a little bit of a different take on it than I do. So the butterfly, undergoing great change and transformation. The energy of the butterfly is with us during periods of transition. Since air is the element of the heart, this change usually involves relationships, or if you love your job, perhaps your career. Since transition is accompanied by some amount of discomfort, be patient and kind during this time, especially if the butterfly is you. Let solid friends and activities support you like a cocoon, committing to one daily routine, whether it's a meal, a practice, or a prayer. Done at the same time and same place every day will do wonders for lifting a butterfly spirit. So I think this was really beautiful and very fitting. We just kind of talked about having that routine, having that little bit of stability, and also this huge period of transition that we've been in for all of 2020. We're still in right now in 2021. So I think that was just really great and really beautiful. If anyone wants to put in the chat or come out and speak if they really resonated with it at all, you are more than welcome to share. I am very open to that. Yes, we are growing and becoming ourselves so much. Yes, I will. Doreen, I think I have you on Instagram, right? I will take a picture of it and I'll send it to you, okay? And if anyone else wants a picture of the card and the description, my Instagram is going to be on the very last slide, so just send me a message in there and I'll make sure I send it to you guys. But yeah, that was just such a beautiful card. All right, so now it's time to do the work. So we are going to get out our journals, get out your pen or a piece of paper, whatever you have. I've written on a napkin before, so literally anything. And the first thing, I'm going to set a timer. Where's my phone? Here we go. And we're going to journal for about 5 minutes. And I just want you to think about all that we have talked about the last couple of slides. So anything that might have come to you that came to mind while we were discussing this new moon, anything that you were like, oh, this is 100% what it relates to in my life, kind of just jot down those notes. You can also write down like what thoughts you want to release that are no longer serving you. We kind of talked about like shedding those parts of ourselves that might be a little painful, but it's going to serve you better in the future. How can you accept what's going on in your life instead of fighting against it? So I think this is really a great prompt just for the time that we're in. There's so much going on, and there's an old like Taoist saying that's like you want to flow like water down a stream, If water encounters a rock, it kind of just goes around it. It doesn't get stuck and try to break the rock. It just goes around. So how can you go with the flow instead of trying to fight against it and make the situations in your life just a little bit more peaceful? And if anything that I said triggered you, I really want you guys to think back on that and think, why were you triggered? Why were you having any feelings of maybe like anger or upset or discomfort? Because that is a good point for growth. So I'm going to put on the timer for about 5 minutes and we can all get started. Okay. So now we're going to move on to the next little journal prompt, which is the mini vision board. So because this is the first new moon of 2021, maybe you're someone who doesn't really like New Year's resolutions. That's totally okay. But we're going to kind of use this energy to look at our big picture goals. And I just want everyone to do like a little mini vision board. You can do, bullet points, you can draw, whatever kind of comes to mind, but thinking about the questions: how can you live your most authentic life? What is it that you're being called to do? Any of those like big vision goals. And then what do your dreams look like? Like, how can you accomplish those? Maybe it's your dream job. What steps can you take to getting that job or turning your current job into that dream job? Um, and then maybe looking at like your resolutions for the next week, the next month, the next 6 months, the next year. So maybe writing down like one thing you want to do next week or the rest of this week, that you want to stick to, a couple of things that you want to be able to incorporate in over the next month or so, those types of things. So we'll do another 5 minutes, and the timer is going to start now. All right. Okay, so finish up your last couple sentences if you're still writing. Hopefully that exercise was helpful for everyone. And if anyone feels called to share on this, please feel free to just call out. I can go first if that helps start things off. So a few things that came up for me was trying to force others to do what I want them to do. That first journal prompt of kind of going back to those questions that we looked at in the beginning. Am I too judgmental? Am I too critical? That is something that stood out for me, of just needing to let things go. And I can't bend people to my will, and just remembering that. And then for my mini vision board, a lot of it was business related. No surprise there with all this Capricorn energy floating around. But I really want to continue to grow my business and eventually have my own space, whether it's a mobile wellness studio or an office, something along those lines, of just having like an actual space to be in. Some kind of this like virtual business right now, and I just want like a really good home base. And doing more classes like this, more breath work, more meditation, more education classes, because I love teaching. So that was my little bit of snippets. If anyone else would like to share, they can. If not, it's okay.
I can go.
Awesome.
I started my business, well, in March 2020. I was freelancing mostly, and it was a really good time because by then I had developed my career. I work in fashion, and I'm doing fashion weeks and organizing showrooms. So I finally got to a point when I can actually be okay with freelancing. And then COVID happened, so I felt like I lost so much. But then in August, I launched a fashion agency, and I already actually had some work. So it kind of started off kind of okay. And then this past month, it seems that it's like even going even further away, up until literally a couple of maybe days ago, when I realized, and now I made the plan, that I can't do everything alone. So I'll be stronger if I form a collective of other professionals and everyone focuses on just one thing. So I want exactly that. I actually have 3 people already. So the manifestation until the next new moon is to have all 5 and to have a new plan made. And for the year is to have this fixed, to have the company fixed, to have at least 5 clients. I think 5 is my number, so it's always 5. And yeah, and to have that done like really well, like kind of thinking with empathy for them and what they get out of the project and how to make everyone feel okay, and also for me to succeed.
I love that. That is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And I will be manifesting that with you.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to share?
Okay, I will try to share.
Okay.
Hi, I'm not going to speak much. I'm just going to show briefly the vision board I've done a few days ago, and maybe that can inspire some people to do kind of the same, because it's very good when you look for all those magazines, going through magazines and really focus on what you're after and what really attract your what you're attracted to. So anyway, I'll show you quickly. I don't know if you're gonna see.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, well, I'm happy with it. So I'm trying to, I'm not saying it's easy all the time to look at it, or do not look at it, but I'm trying at least 3 times a day to go through some of the images of some of the words I've been using, just to refocus myself, especially when it's a bit of a shitstorm there. Voilà, that's it.
No, I
Thank you.
love that. I think that is so powerful to have something to look at every day, to really keep you focused. So that's awesome. You have inspired me.
Oh, thank you.
Can I share?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my goal is, and I like that you pulled the butterfly card, and when it was saying about creating a routine and doing something every day at the same time to like get yourself into that transition and that transformative like transformative state. So right now my goal is I want to build a strong relationship with my spirit. I want to be able to create more and create more authentically without putting so much pressure on myself, like whether or not I'm creating what I'm supposed to create or creating what, you know, people want to see. I'm an artist. I just started creating and painting for about, I've been doing it all my life, but I've been really taking it serious for the past 2 years. And I want to definitely put more trust in myself and putting more trust in my craft. So my goal is to create more and to create a better relationship with my spirit and, you know, say my prayers every day, every morning when I wake up. The first thing I want to do is pray. I've been doing really good with it this year. So I just want to continue with that. And then also I want to write in my journal more often. And I saw that you all wanted to see my art, and I will show you. I have to go grab it. Okay.
That's so awesome. I love that.
Can you see it?
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I do a lot of line work. So if you get closer to it, it's really like fine lines of just lines. It's my release. And so I just want to take that more seriously because I believe that, you know, I'm called to be creative. And I think that, you know, society has definitely pulled us away for thinking that, you know, I guess being creative isn't, you know, something that is, you know, for the world or for the healing of the world. And so I think that just for us to really start to harness our own creative ideas and, you know, trust ourselves and trust our tuition, I think that would be really good for myself. That's my goal this year.
Oh, I love that so much. And your art is so beautiful. So keep going, because the more authentic you are, you're just going to attract like so much more authentic people. So that's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you
for sharing.
I wanted to share something along those lines. Just like how much power we have to influence ourselves, no matter where we are at in life. You know, we can really begin each day differently, and you know, not get stuck on thinking things will be better when I achieve this, or I just have to get past the winter, because we don't know if it will be better in the spring. Honestly, we don't know if we're going to be, you know, in a car accident, God forbid, but just reframing to really live each day, you know, no matter what the weather is, and being consistent, following, you know, what we know we do want, and not kind of like habitually what we can get into that is just familiar and may or may not be good for us.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's so powerful what you said about just like, we don't know, tomorrow's not promised. So like, if you know, don't live your day like every day like it's your last, then how are you really, you know, living the life that you want to live? So that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Would anyone else like to speak out a little bit? If not, we'll go into the meditation, but if you want to speak.
I just want to share one more thing for anybody who may have kids. There was a really good like webinar that I listened to last night, and it was called Love and Logic. But it's not even just for kids. Like, it can just apply to coworkers and friends, and just like our language. So if someone's doing something and I say, no, you know, like, or no, you know, and versus, ah. they actually said, this triggers a different part of the brain. So, don't, like, those words are very harsh and they cause us to be defensive. And, with relations with partners, with everybody, especially since people are so sensitive now, you may want to do something like, or hey, and they're just so much more approachable in terms of listening to what you have to say. So it just really changed my outlook on dealing with dealing with children, dealing with partner, and making harmony, rather than the same old fights or battles that you may have going on with homework or whatever it is.
Yeah, no, I love that. That is huge, with everyone being so close and in such close quarters, if you're all working from home, and like you said, with homework and homeschooling and all of that. So that is a really good tip. Thank you for sharing that. Would anyone else like to speak at all? If not, it's totally okay. Okay. All right. So we will move on to this little bit of meditation. This is pretty much the last thing that we're going to do. So I just want everyone to get into like a comfortable position. If you want to lay down, you can. If you want to sit, you can. But placing your hands in your lap, we want to have our palms facing up so that we can get all of that good energy coming into us. And I'm going to get my sound bowls. I'm going to work with the sound bowls that I have correlate to each of the 7 chakras. And I'm going to mostly work with the one that correlates to the root chakra, because Capricorn is mostly about grounding. So we will kind of just focus on this one. And the meditation that I'm going to walk you guys through is about connecting to the earth, grounding, while also activating and balancing the rest of your chakras. So if everyone wants to just take a little bit of a deep breath in and let it go, and just have that clearing breath. Now you can close your eyes, begin to relax down, and just kind of listen to the sound bowls, listen to my voice, and really focus on your breathing. So if there's any thoughts that pop into your head, simply just let them go. It's okay to have thoughts, but while we're meditating, we just want to let them slip in and slip out. So focus on your body and your breathing. Picture a cord that is running from your root chakra down into the earth. And this cord is full of energy, any negative or lower vibe energy that you want to release. You can let it go through this cord into the earth so that the earth can do with it what it will. And now, as that cord reaches down into the center of the earth, it is also sucking up some beautiful white light energy. And this energy is going to come up into your root chakra, and it's going to create this beautiful ball of energy in your root chakra, balancing out your root chakra. Next, it's going to come up and go into your sacral chakra, and it's going to balance out your sacral chakra. And as it travels up from your sacral chakra, it now goes into your solar plexus. And as it goes into your solar plexus, it balances out that energy there, and it travels up into your heart chakra. And as it goes into your heart chakra, it's activating all of that love, all of that beautiful earth energy into your heart chakra. traveling up into your throat, bringing all of that healing energy into your throat chakra so that you can speak what you need to speak and express yourself in the ways that are beneficial for you. And as this energy comes up, it comes up into our third eye, and it activates our third eye chakra, opening up so that you can see what's going on around you. And this energy travels up into your crown chakra. And as it activates the crown chakra, you have this beautiful white light that encompasses your whole body. Just sit in that beautiful white light. All right, so you guys can start wiggling your toes, your fingers, gently kind of waking yourself back up a little bit, just taking a few deep breaths in and letting them go. How does everyone feel?
I feel amazing.
I love using the singing bowls. I just think they just do something to your body, and it just, everything feels so good after. So up on this last slide is my Instagram. If any of you want me to send you a picture of the card with the description, just send me a quick DM. There is also a new moon like ritual guide that's free. It's on my website. It's under the like free stuff tab, so you can go check that out if you want. But thank you all so much for participating, and all of you for sharing, because that was so brave and so powerful. And I think that we can all go forth today and help each other manifest all of our dreams. So thank you so much.